mean,
Mics are hot.
Thank you.
thank you. Yes.
No, Pat's out there. He's talking to Carrie.
He's, yeah.
Oh, oh, okay. I thought you said Pat was in town.
No. Sorry. Hey, Mike. Can you let Pat know we're ready?
We'll call the meeting to order at 7 PM. Thank you all for coming. Alicia, do we have a quorum, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Contreras is present. Councilmember Van Zant is absent. Councilmember Runenbaum is present. Mayor Moss is present. Councilmember Young is present, and Councilmember Crummell is present.
Thank you. Would you all rise? Join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Would you join me in the pledge, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We have a proclamation I'd like to read, please. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas in the United States, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, the goal of this is to raise public awareness about sexual violence and educate communities on how to prevent it. SAM, S-A-A-M as it's called, calls attention to the fact that sexual harassment, assault, and abuse are as widespread and impact every person in this community. Whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment harm our community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 67 men will be raped at some point in their lives. Whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys... In the United States, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Hello. Whereas child sexual abuse prevention...
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't know what I said.
I was just checking. I like to check it and make sure it's working.
I think it's working. Whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience sexual assault before age 18. Whereas on campus, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. Now therefore, I, Doyle Moss, Mayor of the City of Willow Park, join advocates and communities across the country in taking action to prevent sexual violence. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to create change for the future. Would you all join me in this month?
Mr. Mayor, if I will. My name is Anastasia from Freedom House, and I'm part of this proclamation, and just wanted everyone to know that our number is available in all of Harper County. If you have friends or family or loved ones or anyone who might be experiencing this, and I just wanted to
Thank you.
thank you for having us here.
Good luck. Thank you and good luck. This time, we're going to move the mayor's comments and the city manager's comments to the front. If I could have Mr. Bernie Parker come forward, please. Don't cry, Bernie. This is a proclamation honoring Bernie Parker. Bernie Parker began his career at the City of Willow Park in 2017 during a year that involved many changing challenges. Bernie has faithfully and conscientiously served the City of Willow Park and its citizens for 4 years, during which period of time numerous projects, including the public safety building and city park, were initiated and completed through his leadership, which will continue to have a revitalization and growing impact on the City of Willow Park for many years. The City of Willow Park wishes to acknowledge him for his distinguished service to the citizens of this great city. Now therefore, I, Doyle Moss, Mayor of the City of Willow Park, along with Willow Park City Council and staff, do hereby recognize Mr. Parker in his highly successful years as a public servant with the City of Willow Park. Congratulations. Just hang on, we have one more for you.
We have the mayor's comments, and we have the city manager's comments. You got 2 minutes. 1 minute.
I wanted to give you this plaque for the appreciation that we have. And it's got some really colorful language on it. But I want you to know, I want everybody else to know, this man, what he has done for the city of Willow Park in the last 4 years is unprecedented in our profession. He has handled multiple transitions. He's handled multiple difficult situations up on this dais and out in that lobby. He's done so with professionalism and respect for the taxpayer and our citizens. He hasn't always said yes, but he's always tried to find a way to get there. He will be missed, and he's going to be nearly irreplaceable. But all that's to say this: I'm going to miss my best friend. I worked with this man 12 hours a day. He's closer to me than my family. We have spent the last 3.5 years together, cussing and discussing several projects. And I just want you to know, I want to miss you. I love you. I'm proud of you. You're going to do a great job in King, Texas. Thanks.
Do what?
I had the mayor in the front with you two for a shot before we
How about right here?
Y'all just gather around. There we go. That's it.
Thank you. Thanks, Bernie.
Congratulations. Thank you for all you did.
All right, we'll start the meeting off with public comments. We have Mr. Scott Thurman. Mr. Thurman, you're up. You have 5 minutes, please. State your name and address, please.
Yeah, it's Scott Thurman. I live at 500 Big Creek Road in Willow Park. And I've been cussing and discussing some stuff with my neighbors too. The construction project up there, the underpass, right there at Delicia's and First Financial Bank, that intersection. And I filled out my sheet before the meeting, and they informed me that basically this is a TDOT issue. Kind of like, you know, I don't think they're going to want to hear it, but even if it is TDOT, I would think that Willow Park and the state cooperated, you know, on this project at some point. So I would like to see if we could talk to the state about that intersection they built there. We needed a right-hand turn going east because that traffic gets backed up so far in the mornings past our roads, we can't access that. We have to drive south to get onto Micus Road from Deer Pond Drive. And the construction's been going on for about 4 years. There's been a lot of delays. And a few months ago, it seemed they were nearing completion. And they had widened the road on the east side and split it into 2 lanes. And we were all excited. We go, that's made all the wait worth it, just that one right-hand turn. And then a few weeks ago, they started pouring more stuff, cement there, and they painted the right-hand turn line out. Now it's 1 lane, and they've put in 4 pedestrian crosswalks right there. And which I can't figure out why they want a pedestrian crosswalk with signals, because there's nothing on either side, north or south of that overpass. There's a fireworks warehouse that's open twice a year and a stove shop on one side and a bank and gas station on the other. And there's no sidewalks on either side for these crosswalks to tie into. And so right now we're back to having our traffic backed up, you know, a quarter of a mile in the mornings. And I'm basically just asking that we try to figure out a way that we can remove or just pull that crosswalk back so we can have our right-hand lane again. Because there's plenty of room right there to put a turn. And I guess I'm seeing, people are going that way anyway, but it's considered a medium now. And I just want to know if that's going to be breaking the law if you use that medium to turn right. And I guess, I don't know if it could be something we put on another future council agenda to discuss, or who we would need to talk to, city planner or whatever, but I think after 4 years and all that money they spent, that's the one thing that would have increased traffic flow in that area after all that. Those turnarounds are great, I guess for people that miss their turns, but we're emptying traffic out from Big Creek, Deer Pond, Russell Road, Bankhead, Airport Road, Center Point Road, Old Annetta Road, and just basically all of Annetta, north and south, going to work. 90% of that traffic's turning right. And so it was really disappointing to see them paint that right-hand turnout. And that's basically all I had.
Mr. Thurman, I think this week, Mr. Grimes will be in touch with you with an email or a contact person, and we can get you in contact with someone that might be able to help.
Okay.
All righty?
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Item number first is to approve the city council meeting minutes for March 23rd, 2021. Do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second it.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. We're going to move item 11 up to the first regular agenda item, and that's the update on the Fort Worth water update. And again, introduce yourself, please, and who you're with.
Certainly. Preston Dillard with Half Associates. Brian had asked me to provide an update to you on the Fort Worth Water Project. So as you may recall, this is going to be accomplished with 3 different construction projects. 2 of those are under construction right now. So I'll kind of give you a brief update on each one of them. The first one is the pipeline that's going to go from the connection with Fort Worth at Farmer Road over to the El Chico delivery site. That's under construction right now by Mountain Cascade. They're about 50% done now with laying the pipeline. They've started at the El Chico location and worked their way back to the east. So they've just now crossed in the ETJ boundary from Willow Park into Fort Worth, continuing to head east. That project is currently scheduled for completion in mid-July. Mountain Cascade has gotten 2 pipeline crews working on that currently. In addition, they have other crews that are working on the bore locations under roads and other infrastructure. There's a couple of key milestones coming up on that project in particular. First off would be the tie-in of that Fort Worth pipeline. It's a 36-inch line that we're tying into, requires a 36-inch valve to control that. That valve, unfortunately, is on back order, so that's delayed the tie-in a little bit. The valve is supposed to arrive around the 1st of May, and so if everything goes well, we can still meet schedule on that. But obviously, that's going to be a critical tie-in, and the line has to be shut down for a day or 2, so Fort Worth will be heavily focused on that. Another item that's in the works is a possible change order on that project. Fort Worth, as you know, is agreed to provide a temporary meter station so that once the line is in place, you can immediately get water from it. But there's some additional control and instrumentation that they want as part of that meter station, even on a temporary basis. So we've asked Mountain Cascade to prepare a cost estimate for that. We anticipate getting that information next week, and we'd be happy to come back and update you on that once we receive that information. The second portion would be the pipeline that goes from El Chico, heads west towards Hudson Oaks. That one's also under construction. Wildstone Contractors is doing that one. They've installed approximately 8,500 linear feet of pipeline so far. Similarly, for whatever reason, they're also working from the west to the east. So they started at the Hudson Oaks end, and I understand that they're right about at Meadow Place Drive currently with their construction. They actually have one crew working on the pipeline currently. They anticipate adding a second crew next week. And they have 4 separate boring crews that are working independently right now. And one of the big components of that project is to do the directional drill bore underneath the Clear Fork, and that should be starting next week. Schedule on that project is to be completed in mid-August. And then the third component is the pump station project that would provide both the ground storage tank and the pump station here at El Chico Trail, and then also the meter station at Hudson Oaks. So we just got Water Development Board approval on the plans and specifications for that project last week. So we're moving ahead with advertising that project. I believe ads will be placed for the first advertisement this Friday. So bids will be due on May the 12th here at the City Hall at 3 p.m. Did want to update you on the financial aspects of that project. We did just issue a 100% design set opinion of probable construction cost yesterday, I believe it was. And we're still holding at what we've had for the 60 and 90% levels, right at about $6.5 million. We did change some numbers there, in particular on products related to steel and timber. We're hearing feedback from contractors that those prices have started to go up, potentially in response to the big freeze, I think some other things that were happening in the fall, some of the hurricane activity in the Gulf Coast. So we've increased some prices there. We're still holding a 11% contingency on that number. So that's how we were able to keep the same level, is that we increased some of the construction prices, reduced the contingency down from 13, where it was at 90%, to 11% now. So at 100% design, 11% contingency is still a pretty healthy cushion as we head into the bids for that. So as I mentioned, that should bid on May the 12th. Real quickly, just another related item. We've been working with Brian to put in writing an agreement with Fort Worth for the temporary wholesale meter. That's been a kind of a handshake agreement with Fort Worth. They've certainly been over backwards to kind of accommodate us on that, but they did decide they wanted to get something in writing. So I guess this was also on Monday. We turned in a draft addendum to that existing wholesale agreement. So that's currently being reviewed by the legal department of Fort Worth. And I don't anticipate that that will be any kind of delay to the project. They just want to get that in place in time for the delivery of water this summer. And I think that's all I've got in terms of prepared remarks. I'd be happy to ask or answer any questions if you have.
The metered station that you referenced that Fort Worth requested, is Willow Park going to have to pay for that, or is that something that Fort Worth will pay for since they're requesting it?
Willow Park will pay for that.
Okay. Do we know how much that is?
That's, for the most part, that's already covered in the Mountain Cascade construction contract.
What?
I did mention that one change order that adds the additional communication aspects to it. So that number will be added to the construction contract, and that's the information that we hope to get next week.
Okay.
But that, if there's any additional cost, it'll still be split 52-48.
That's correct.
Okay.
So what's the contract for the tank and the storage tank and pump station are approved? What's your timeline to start the project and complete that part of the project?
Yeah, so once we receive bids on the May the 12th, we go back through the Water Development Board for them to approve the construction contract. We're anticipating getting that in mid-July, and we'll start construction then. And that would have us with the pump station online at the end of April of 2022.
So do you anticipate any holdups with the agreement with Fort Worth if the line is completed in mid-July between Willow Park and Fort Worth? Do you think that agreement and the metering station can all be worked out by the time the pipeline is complete, that contract? Does it look like that would work?
Yes, I mean, as I mentioned, I think all the principles of the agreement have already been agreed to in verbal, discussions with Fort Worth. I think this is really just a formality to get something in place.
Okay.
And Fort Worth is highly aware of the importance of the schedule.
Okay.
So obviously, if the agreement drags out past this summer, the need for the agreement goes away. So I can't speak for Fort Worth, but we're confident that won't be an issue.
Okay.
Any other questions for Preston? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 1, discuss an action to consider and act on a final plat of Block EFG Crown Point Addition Phase 4, being a 19.80 acre tract of land, Wesley Franklin Survey, abstract number 468, and McKinney and Williams Survey, abstract number 954, City of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas, located in the 4200 block of Interstate 20 Service Road North. Ms. Betty.
Good evening, council members. This is what happens when you don't see me for a month. We're going to blame this on Snowvid. The first item you have is a final plat for this 19.8 acre commercial subdivision. The owners propose to subdivide the property into 3 large acre commercial lots. The property is zoned commercial and it is located in the I-20 overlay district. The preliminary plat was approved in 2019 for this development, and they are proceeding with the final plat. There will be access off J.D. Toles Drive, which is a proposed 60-foot right-of-way in this area, and it will be extended to the west to connect with the I-20 service road on the north side. Then you also have Gemma Drive, which is a proposed 50-foot right-of-way which traverses the middle of the subdivision, and it will also connect with the service road. There have been permits issued for both of the connections to the service road by TxDOT. The subdivision is served with both city water and sewer. The stormwater in the subdivision flows primarily west to east, with the most western part of the subdivision stormwater flowing back to the northwest. There is an existing TxDOT culvert that runs under the interstate east of the subdivision, and there are 2 5x5 double box culverts that have been installed in Mary Lou Drive that will carry a portion of the stormwater. Staff has reviewed the final plat. It does meet the requirements of the city's subdivision ordinance and comes forth with a favorable recommendation from both staff and Planning and Zoning Commission. You have the final plat as well as the application. Chuck Stark, Baron Stark Engineering, is the engineer and is here if you have any questions. And I would be happy to answer any from the staff report.
Do we have any questions, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat, Block EFG Crown Point Addition Phase 4, being 19.80 acre tract of land.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 2, to consider and act on a final plat of a replat the reserves at Trinity Addition, being 140.302 acres, City of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas, located on Meadow Place Drive. Ms. Betty.
Thank you, Mayor. This is what I guess I would refer to as kind of a cleanup plat. There are 4 items that are really relevant to the replat. The first is to adjust the floodplain and floodway to reflect the FEMA study that was completed for the property and the LOMR exists. Those areas are highlighted. I think I've shown them on each of your plats in yellow, but you can see where it actually takes the floodplain and the floodway to the areas where they truly reflect the LOMR. The second is to adjust Bridge Street as it crosses from the subdivision to the west to the Trinity River. That is highlighted in green. The third adjustment is an adjustment to a 5 feet to the north lot line. This is the area, it's off Meadows Place Drive. It's actually where the community center is to be located. And the final correction is There were 2 lots in Block 6, lots 1 and 2, and they are being replatted into a single lot to make it a buildable lot. We had some electric easements in that area that were, when you had it divided into 2 lots, it really wasn't buildable, so they're proposing to replat into a single lot, and that's kind of a green, almost triangle area on the plat. This plat has been reviewed by both staff and Planning and Zoning Commission. It does meet the requirements of the subdivision ordinance and is recommended for approval. If you have any questions of the staff report, I would be happy to answer those.
Do we have any questions for Betty, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat as written, as read.
Second?
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 3, to consider and act on a public hearing to consider a request to amend the City of Willow Park zoning ordinance, Section 14.06.014, A, to permit auto body repair, fully enclosed shop area as permitted use in the C Commercial District Special Use Permit, SUP, required in accordance with Article 14.013. We're going to open the public hearing at 7:27 PM.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Chuck Stark with Baron Stark Engineers. I am the engineer for the applicant on this request, who is here this evening, may wish to speak. But the nature of this is we are preparing or working on a commercial development there on what we call the Porter Tract. You will see some plats on that later in your agenda. And the desired use, one of 2 that would be going in at this time, it is an auto body repair shop, but it's different than what maybe historically you associate with that type of use. It is fully enclosed. All the auto work is inside the building. They have a showroom, office area up front where you would go to get a vehicle estimated and all. If you have seen Caliber Collision, I think that would be a good analogy, where they exist on pad sites and shopping centers, various commercial locations, and they have a good architectural flair. They're convenient to the public, but yet they don't have like an open storage yard, and you don't see cars sitting, wrecked cars sitting around waiting to go in the body shop. This is a fairly new concept in the auto body world. It's only been around for about 10 years or so. And so I think it is a use that was not contemplated by any of the model zoning ordinances that are promulgated and put out. Your zoning ordinance only allows this use in a light industrial. And certainly, we don't want to request light industrial there on the interstate frontage. But I think this is very compatible with the commercial uses given these particular parameters that are being outlined. It does carry the stipulation of a special use permit. So you would see the site plan with the architectural elevations and everything as part of that SUP process. We plan on submitting that at the end of this month if we can get a favorable reading on this tonight. With that said, I would certainly like to answer any of your questions you might have.
You say the owner was here?
He is.
Would they like to comment at all?
No, I just, I just wanted to tell you, first of all, that I appreciate your time and entertaining this concept. And, we're in a couple of different cities. We're in the city of Buda, south of Austin. We're in Forney, and similar concept. And, we have a great reputation in those cities. We have some of the nicest looking buildings in the cities and keeping them up and everything. And, if you were to reach out, anybody would tell you the same thing. And, we like to be part of the cities that we're in too. So we're looking forward to being here.
Okay, thank you.
Approximate location, where's it?
It is just west of Trinity Church.
Okay.
That area is, we're fighting it as the Porter Addition. You'll see the plat, the preliminary plat in your agenda packet further down the line here.
Okay.
Thanks, Chuck.
Can I have a question?
Sure.
Is there any, I guess, ecological or anything being a car maintenance just with any types of oil and gas transmissions, anything like that that would be of concern for something like this? How would that be handled if it's an enclosed area and how it could
Well,
affect?
certainly there are vent fans for ventilating the shop. All the chemicals, automotive fluids, that type of thing are self-contained. They're a service that comes and removes those periodically as necessary. Again, I would direct you to a Caliber, which, sits out on a pad site. They have the same type of operating system and whatnot. This is not a chain, a national chain. This is a single-owned, husband and wife-owned company. This would be like their second or third installation here within the state of Texas. But they're not just all over the place. I think you'll be very pleased with the architectural renderings that I have seen, and like I said, we will be submitting those at the submittal deadline.
Okay.
You might have heard of Ron Hobbs. He's pretty big in doing a lot of architectural work for different cities, city halls and things like that. And that's mainly what he does, and he's our architect on this project. Not because we want something that fancy or whatever, but I just happen to know him, and he happens to be close to our office. And he's done our other two offices, and, really strict cities have been really happy with him, like City of Buda, down in Austin. You can't hardly do anything in that city. And he passed there, so he's a really prominent architect, and so he'll do the right thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask Betty a question regarding that? I don't know if you know, but it sounds like this is a relatively new kind of concept that zoning maybe hasn't kept up with. Are you aware of any changes in general with cities that people looking at something like this and making changes to their zoning ordinances? Or is this cutting edge?
This is probably cutting edge.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any, and everyone, I'd like the council to remember, not just this business, but if there was someone else on another piece of property, this is actually a text amendment to the zoning ordinance. So commission and council will go through the public hearing process. I was telling the commission, you may remember a few years ago, we had a snow cone operation down on South Ranch House, and you would go through the same special use permit. You go through a public hearing with the commission, the council and commission have the ability to place certain restrictions on each one of those businesses. So anything with an SUP will go back through y'all.
Thanks, Betty.
I have a question for you, sir. Do you know what kind of surface you might be putting down, whether it be concrete, asphalt, something like that?
100% concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% concrete.
Okay, public hearing is closed at 7:34 PM. Item number C, act on a request to amend the City of Willow Park zoning ordinance section 1406.014 to permit auto body repair. Fully enclosed shop area is permitted use in the C Commercial District Special Use Permit, SUP required in accordance with Article 14.013. Do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat as read.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we need to read the caption?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Lisa, you want to read that for us, please?
Yes, sir. City of Little Park Ordinance 829-21, an ordinance providing for an amendment to Chapter 14 zoning regulations, Article Section 14.06.014A, C Commercial District Use Regulations, auto body repair within a fully enclosed shop area, special use permit, SUP required as amended, providing for publication and an effective date.
Thank you. We have a motion. We've read the ordinance. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Good luck to you. Item number 4, to consider an act on a preliminary plat of Lot 1, 2, Block 1, Worth Creek addition, being a 16.334 acre tract of land, East Oxer Survey, abstract number 1031, and J.H. Phelps Survey, abstract number 1046, ETJ of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas, located in the 9700 block of Bankhead Highway. Miss Betty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to talk to you, we have both a preliminary and final plat. This agenda item number 4 is for the preliminary plat, and agenda item number 5 will be the final plat for one of the lots in this 2-lot subdivision, so I won't bore you with saying the same thing twice. This property is located in the city's ETJ. It's in the 9700 block of Bankhead Highway. This is for a 2-lot subdivision. The owner proposes to subdivide the property into Lot 1, which is undeveloped at this time, and that's 2.398 acres, which fronts on Bankhead Highway. Lot 2 is partially developed with some industrial office space, and it is a proposed 13.936 acre lot. Access to both lots in the subdivision will be off of Bankhead Highway, which serves as an east-west connector in eastern Parker County and functions as a minor arterial. There is also an existing 50-foot north-south access easement, which was dedicated prior to platting through the subdivision. This property is in the ETJ and will be served by private wells and private sewage disposal systems. The property is not within our CCN, but if the developer wishes, the city could possibly negotiate a developer's agreement for water service if they so desire, and the council approves it. Stormwater flows primarily from northeast to southwest across the subdivision, and there are existing electric easements on the property, which are shown on both the preliminary and final plat. The Planning and Zoning Commission has reviewed this plat as well as staff. It does meet the requirements of the city's subdivision ordinance for a preliminary plat and is recommended for approval. And we will need action on the preliminary, and then the final plat is actually for the smaller lot, which is Lot 1, which is the 2.398 acre undeveloped lot. And it has basically the same staff report, but I would be happy to answer any questions regarding either plat.
But we're doing item 4 and then we're doing item 5.
Yes, sir, we will need 2 separate motions.
And you said the easement is still part of the plat, so it
Yes.
still continues on?
Yes, ma'am.
Question about the pipeline easement. There's 2 of them going
Yes.
right through the middle. Does that pose any type of challenges or anything we need to worry about?
Probably more so for the larger lot, which is already partially developed with, it does have some buildings down on the southern end. That will be, it could be a challenge, but the easement is already, the pipeline easements are already there, as well as the electric easements that are on the property. So they will have to work around those.
Okay.
Because they are existing.
So they won't have, or can they put anything on top of it, or?
Normally, you cannot. I
That's
mean,
what-
that easement, you cannot build within the easement area. So there, in other words, there's the pipeline plus a certain amount of easement area on either side. So you could not build in the easement area.
Any other questions for Betty, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat of Lot 1, 2, Block 1, Worth Creek addition.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 5 is to add on to that, consider and act on a final plat of Lot 1, Block 1, Worth Creek addition, being a 2.39 acre tract of land, East Octor Survey, abstract number 1031, and J.H. Phelps Survey, abstract number 1046, ETJ of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas, located in the 9700 block of Bankhead Highway. And this is just what you got through discussing, correct?
Yes, this is the final plat for Lot 1. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those.
Do you have a questions or motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of Lot 1, Block 1, Worth Cree Addition.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 6, to consider and act on a preliminary plat, lots 1 through 3, Block 1, Porter Addition, being 11.921 acres, J.M. Froman Survey, abstract number 471, City of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas. Betty?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a preliminary plat for a 3-lot commercial subdivision. The property is zoned commercial, and it is within the I-20 overlay district. This plat proposes to abandon Stagecoach Trail right-of-way, which runs through the proposed Lot 3, which is the 3-acre tract, the most western tract. If this right-of-way is abandoned, then there is a proposal to extend Bankhead to the I-20 service road on the south side. If you see how Stagecoach Trail intersects with the service road now, it intersects at a very odd angle, and it's difficult to see cars coming down the service road. So this will greatly improve the visibility in that area. The developer will be dedicating, and that is one of the items we have, I believe it's agenda item number 8. They propose to dedicate right-of-way with the release of Stagecoach Trail for Lot 3. They propose to dedicate Bankhead Highway right-of-way and improve it to the service road. They will also be installing an 8-inch water main in that, extending an 8-inch water main in that area. The water main terminates at a fire hydrant by the back entrance to Trinity Christian Academy. So they will be extending the water main to the, I guess that's the northwest, as a part of this project. There will be fire hydrants installed along that 8-inch water main in compliance with ISO regulations and in accordance with the city's utility extension policy. Wastewater service will be by private sewage disposal systems, as we do not have sanitary sewer service in that area.
Yeah.
Stormwater flows north to south to the center of the subdivision, and development of each of these acreage lots will require submittal of an independent drainage improvement plan for each lot. The side lot line easements are provided to accommodate the stormwater flow, and the drainage improvement plans will be in accordance with the city's design standards for stormwater drainage. The preliminary plat comes forth with a recommendation, 1, to vacate and abandon Stagecoach right-of-way as it crosses the subdivision. With the final plat of Lot 3, that will release and incorporate that Stagecoach right-of-way into Lot 3. There is also a recommendation and council action in agenda item number 8 to accept the proposed Bankhead Highway right-of-way with said right-of-way improvements to be constructed upon acceptance by the developer. The third recommendation is approval of the preliminary plat of lots 1 through 3 in Porter Addition, subject to 2 stipulations for the final plat, that the cross-access and fire lane easements be provided across each lot, and they should be a minimum of 25 feet. And then the entrance locations be approved with site development plans for the I-20 service road entrances and the Bankhead Highway entrances. And Planning and Zoning Commission also recommends approval subject to those conditions. If we have, as I said, agenda item number 8, and it shows a little better in the exhibits You can see the proposed Bankhead right-of-way. It's shown in two parts. The majority of it is on Exhibit A. There is a small triangle that is to what I would call the southeast, and that is a separate document with separate field notes, but it all would encompass the proposed Bankhead right-of-way. We have this agenda item, which is 6, which is the preliminary plat for the 3 lots, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have regarding this plat, and Mr. Stark is here also.
Do we have any questions for Betty, or do we have a motion, please?
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
So the developer, just so I'm understanding this clearly, will be, if this continues forward, doing the Bankhead, I guess, easement all the way to the I-20 access road, is that correct?
That's correct. They will make the improvement. It will become Bankhead Highway right-of-way.
Okay.
In other words, it will be right-of-way, which in item 8 is to be dedicated to the city of Willow Park, with the developer making the street improvements and also the water line extension.
Any other questions for Betty, or do we have a motion?
Okay, I'll ask the question.
Yeah.
So Bankhead, I was waiting, I was trying not to interrupt Derek, and he had that pause on his face. So Bankhead is a very long road, and so now we are taking its right-of-way up to I-20, which it already did that, just through a different path. And so the ability to ever connect Bankhead to the other parts of Bankhead further west, does the fact that we are now calling the right-of-way that connects to the I-20 present any long-term issues with, does that make any sense?
There is a gap. There is a
Right.
gap where
Right.
Bankhead does not connect the
Exactly.
eastern and western portions. I've seen where you could come in and actually take Bankhead back south of the interstate, and if you had additional right-of-way, and that will be a consideration with development of other properties. I think there's
But it would potentially
3
just mean
properties,
abandoning
maybe.
this right-of-way as if we continued on and made this, renaming this road something else.
It could be. It could be.
Just connecting all the
Yes.
Bankheads and.
Ultimately, you, because of the way Bankhead functions through eastern Parker County, actually, from the Aledo area through Willow Park and on into Weatherford.
Yes.
It serves actually as an east-west arterial street to get you through eastern Parker County. So it's very important. It's always something, I think you'll probably remember other plats where we have acquired it. This was an old highway.
Right.
Running east and west, and we have, with each of the plats that we've had in areas where we had less than 60 foot, we've tried to at least have 60 foot so we could have Collector Street right-of-way. We have asked for additional right-of-way dedication in these areas. You may remember when Holt Cat built with that subdivision, we got additional right-of-way in that area. So hopefully there will be, it's something we always look at in our planning efforts. And it's still on our master thoroughfare plan to connect Bankhead.
Okay, I ask my next, after this, I'll ask the next one on the final plat, but I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat with the recommendations from staff and board as read by Betty, so that I don't have to read them again.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Betty, could we go on to number 8 real quick?
We can,
That's just what we discussed, right?
yes, and then we need to come back to 7 after that.
That's correct.
Yes.
Number 8, to consider an act to accept right-of-way dedication for Bankhead Highway extension and relocation. I mean, that's just what we,
Yes,
just what we discussed.
actually,
Do we need to adopt the final plat first before we?
Actually, the final plat, either one, it doesn't, we need to come back and adopt the final plat, but we can do the right-of-way dedication. The right-of-way dedication is across, is not across either one of the lots. So, in other words, the way they're proposing to plat it, if the city of Willow Park council accepts the two right-of-way dedications, then we can still handle the plat. And Lot 3 is not proposed as a final plat with this agenda, so it will come at a later time.
So our motion now is to consider and accept the right-of-way dedication for Bankhead Highway. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve, or excuse me, we accept the right-of-way dedication for Bankhead Highway extension and relocation.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Didn't mean to confuse anything. We're going back to 7. To consider and act on a final plat, Lot 1, Block 1, Porter Edition, being 4 acres, J.M. Froman Survey, abstract number 471, City of Willow Park, Parker County, Texas. Betty?
This is a final plat for Lot 1. This property, as I said, is zoned commercial and is in the I-20 overlay district. Excuse me. This lot is being purchased by Trinity Bible Church, which is the owner of the adjacent property to the east of this lot. We've already discussed streets, the Bankhead Highway right-of-way. This property does have frontage also on the service road, primary frontage there. The lot will be served with city water, private septic system. I have not seen any proposed development for this property. And, you know, possibly the church could replat this in with their larger tract. This comes forth with a favorable recommendation from staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission for this final plat. And if you have any questions to the staff report, I would be happy to answer those, and Mr. Stark is also here.
So the access, cross-access and fire lanes were
And the-
adopted in the final plat?
Yes, we will need that prior to filing that the cross-access and the fire lane easement be included before we release it for filing.
So do we need to stipulate those recommendations again for the
As
final
long
plat?
as the recommendations, yes, that would be best for the final plat.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the final plat of Lot 1, Block 1, Porter Edition as presented with the addition of cross-access and fire lane easement.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. Item number 9, to consider and act, the city council may consider setting a public hearing to consider the land use assumptions, future land use plan, and capital improvement plan prior to the institution of any stormwater impact fee. Pat?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is part of our process to adopt a impact fee for stormwater. And so what this first step will be is to hold a public hearing on the adoption of our capital improvements plan and our future land use plan. And it has already been approved and accepted by the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, and I think that was on March 16th. And so today, if you will pass the resolution setting the public hearing, and it will be set for our, I believe, our May 25th council meeting. And we'll consider at that point having a public hearing and approval of those two plans. And then within the next 30 days, we'll have approval of the ordinance adopting the impact fees if that's the way it plays out.
Do we need
Questions?
to read the ordinance?
We need resolution.
Resolution, I meant.
It should be.
Someone have it?
Oh, wait. Nope, nope, nope. No. Alicia,
They're not in here?
resolution making in the packet, Alicia?
We just have Jacob Martin's
Yeah.
impact fee plan.
So it's not in the packet, then I can receive it with the. Did you send it to me?
I see it.
You did?
It's,
Yeah.
It's stuck in there.
yeah, it's in there.
middle.
It's
It's,
2021-0413.
You want to read that for us, Eric?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2021-0413. Whereas the City Council Willow Park, the City Council appointed a Capital Improvements Advisory Committee in accordance with Section 395.058 of the Texas Local Government Code to work with city staff and consultants to develop a recommendation for the implementation of impact fees to fund stormwater drainage infrastructure. And whereas the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee has reviewed and appointed the capital improvements planned and the land use assumptions, future land use planned.
Yep.
And whereas Section 395.042 of the Texas Local Government Code requires that the City Council conduct a public hearing to consider the land use assumptions and the capital improvement plan prior to the institution of any impact fee.
Okay. Is that good?
It is.
Do we have,
Second it.
I'm sorry?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion?
What was the date, Pat, that you said that it would be scheduled?
May 25th,
20. On
20,
paper this week on the 16th. And, we have 30 days, so 25th will be our first meeting we can have.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you.
you seconded that, right, Leah?
Greg seconded.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Number 10, water meter update.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I had Michelle was planning to do the update this evening. Unfortunately, she fell ill this afternoon. And so I'll give you guys an update on the water meter project that you guys had approved in late 2020. I think we probably did in December of 2020, if memory serves. But we had signed contracts with Aquametric, the installer, and Census. They are the meter company in early January. During that initial meeting, we ordered 2,100 meters with radios and 2 base stations. The meters and the radios were received at City Hall at the end of January. The base stations were originally planned to be installed the week of Winter Storm Uri. And so because we had other issues like having water that we were addressing, we delayed that by about a week. But both base stations were installed within 2 days, and they are on the elevated storage tanks at Fox Hunt and at Willow Springs Oaks, which is on the south side. We installed 12 test meters, mainly in the old racetrack area, to test the system, to test the meters, and to test our base system as well. In mid-March, we installed a setup and radio so that the meters could talk with the base station. Took less than 2 minutes to install and program the radios, and less than 15 minutes for the radios to sync with the base station and send the signal back and forth. So what we're thinking is installation is about 2 minutes, and it takes about 15 minutes for the meter to talk to the base station. And then we'll get that in with Encode here, and I'll get to that here in a second. There were some issues, some tweaks, but they did work through them. Yesterday, Candy and Michelle met via Zoom with Aquametric, Encode, and Census to start to create the Census analytic file. This is the file that will convert the data coming in from the base station into data that can be read by Encode. This is also the file that will be used in the build-out of the customer portal. So we're taking the information from the meter, sending it to the base station, sending it to Encode, putting the X's and zeros and ones into a format that we can all read. Today, Aquametric came back out and performed the last certification required on the base stations, and that passed with flying colors. Once Census has the analytic file ready and built and ready to go, Aquametric will move forward with scheduling the installation of the meters. The hope is that the file can be created by the end of next week, and the plan is to start the install of the new meters around May 15th. If the analytic file can be built by the end of this week, Aquametric would like to start the installation on May 1. And so if everything goes as planned, we should have our meters installed and up and running by the end of May and ready for the June billing cycle.
Very good, thank you.
Any questions?
Item number 12, to consider and act on the water agreement with the City of Weatherford.
Yes, sorry. Derek got up, so I was wondering what that was.
Go ahead.
You want to do the
You want
water?
me to sit back down?
No, you go.
I can.
Knock yourself out. We have been in discussion with the City of Weatherford. In fact, we've used them for an emergency basis for twice in the last 3 years. James Hotop, city manager in Weatherford, came to me and Sterling Nairn, city manager of Hudson Oaks, a couple of weeks ago. They wanted to codify the agreement that we've been working off of. We've kind of been working off of last minute, these are the terms. We're kind of just doing this on the fly. And I think they wanted to codify it. There are some terms in there that are very friendly to the city of Willow Park, this is the same agreement that they're going to use with all their wholesale customers, and I would recommend passage of the agreement.
Did you have any concerns of the agreement?
Do I?
Yeah.
No.
And this is just for emergency use?
Yes. There's some language in there that is called a qualifying event and a non-qualifying event. The non-qualifying event, the agreement stipulates that it's for emergency only, and then it goes back in and says you could do, if our demand exceeds our capacity, that would be considered a qualifying event, which is typically what we have used in the past.
Does this require that we go to a certain stage of water conservation?
We would need to mirror theirs,
Yes. But not go into anything stronger?
Yeah, and they may have other stipulations on that as well.
We appreciate the city of Weatherford and the last couple of years, the communication and support we've had with each other. Do we have a motion to accept the agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve the water agreement with the city of Weatherford.
Emergency water.
Emergency water agreement, excuse me.
As presented, okay. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion?
Yes, Pat, from a contract agreement standpoint, the difference between what we had in this one, from the red line comparison, is there any major changes that are bad for us, or is everything pretty good for us?
I just reviewed the agreement. I didn't review the red line version of the agreement. So it's definitely, it's written in Weatherford's favor, but it's the nature of the agreement. But it's a good agreement as we're probably going to get under circumstances. So I don't see any concern with it that would make it to where we would want to do it.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Leah seconded.
Leah seconded. Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Hopefully it won't be needed.
Item number 13, to consider and act on any necessary action regarding the submission of a TCEQ discharge permit application for the new wastewater treatment plant. Derek.
Okay. I bet you didn't know I was out of order.
I thought if you wanted to talk about the
He's
agreement.
ready to
you're-
go
I just want to stand up here and listen to you. Sorry about that, okay. A quick review of the wastewater treatment plant project, kind of lead into what we're talking about. As you know, trying to negotiate a final arrangement for the property that the church owns to put the plant on, which facilitated a change in the location or the proposed location of the discharge for the new wastewater treatment plant. As you may recall, there's the stream that you currently discharge into and downstream across the interstate is an impaired stream. And so we had to find an alternative to that. The alternative that we looked at and ultimately decided or recommended as the best option was to discharge it in reservoir number 23 at Squaw Creek Golf Course. We've had discussions with the TCEQ, numerous discussions, and also with Tarrant Regional Water. And so far, they're both, the TCEQ is totally on board with that option and very much in favor of it. Tarrant Regional seems to be okay with it as well. That's probably the best option from their perspective. So we have developed, well, let me go ahead and go into the description. As you see on the picture in front of you, those red lines show where the lines from the plant would go. I think you can see where it says proposed WWTP site. That's the proposed location. The red line that goes up and makes a 90-degree turn over to the reservoir would be the discharge line that would come from the plant. And the other shorter red line would be the connection to the existing force main that feeds the current plant. We'd go through the Wilkes property and then through property currently owned by Jim Martin and then up through a little bit of another 1 or 2 tracts of private property, and then it would go through Royal View right-of-way to get, so it's minimal as far as right-of-way acquisition is concerned. And we already, the easement for the other shorter line would be a part of the agreement with the church. There's an easement that's attached to that negotiation. So in order to make all this happen, we have to get a discharge permit from the TCEQ to discharge at that location. We've already created an application for that purpose. The new permit would retain the discharge into the current location in the river because they won't take away that discharge that you currently have up to 500,000 gallons per day. But it would also add another 500,000 gallon a day discharge permit into the reservoir. And so that permit has been completed and the permit application has been completed. It's ready to submit. We just need guidance from you guys or authorization from you guys to do that.
The TCEQ, you say they're favorable to this.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean we have their permission or?
No. That means we're going to submit an application which they will review and ultimately return either a favorable or.
Have we not submitted an application?
No, the application has been prepared and it's only just recently within the last few days been completed.
Okay.
But it has to be submitted now. The city will have to sign the application stating that you're making that request. And so we're just coming to you today to make sure you guys are in favor of taking that step.
Absolutely, I think we are.
Do we need action?
We need to consider, and we need a motion to act on this.
Well, that's up, the TCEQ does not require a formal action of council, but it's up to you whether you want to take that action.
So we still continue to pump the first $500,000 where it is now, and anything above that goes through the red pipe over to the reservoir then, is I understand right? Okay.
But we could actually, since it can be used for irrigation, pump everything to Squaw Creek that they potentially want for irrigation. We don't have to wait until we hit $500,000 at the existing
That's correct.
location.
Yeah.
Right.
That's-
We can
you
put
could-
0 at the existing, we can.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how
We can move 100% through that line?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Up to.
up to 500,000 gallons a
I
day.
see.
Yeah.
So we could put the pipe in now and take wastewater treatment to Squaw Creek right now.
You could take wastewater to the golf course
That's what I'm
for the purpose of irrigation. You could not discharge it into the reservoir
You have to build a
until the
tank.
permit is approved.
Yeah. If the-
You have an authorization to use it for irrigation purposes currently.
Right.
So you could do that, but you could not put it into the reservoir.
They would have to build a tank.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, they'd have to have some kind of storage facility.
Okay, I'm with you.
As far as the impact of the project that's currently under review from the Texas Water Development Board, that goes before their board next week on the 22nd. That request is currently $14.13 million. That this will not change. I mean, this is what that request is based on, so that will not change. There's about a 15% contingency. You heard Preston with half earlier talk about pricing, and we've been aware of that as well. And I've checked the budget recently. And like I said, we have a little over 15% contingency in the project right now. So we're also hoping that we've had situations like this occur numerous times in the past. You remember the big hurricane we had on the coast 4 or 5 years ago. We expect that to curve back down, hopefully, toward the end of the year. So by the time we bid this, I'm hoping that's a different situation, but we do have contingency to cover it.
So we don't need any action on this?
Not necessarily.
We don't need to, if you want,
I would.
I would take, just as a use of formality, that way we got a council approval to do.
All right, let's make a motion.
Well, I have one other question, and that is, you'll like it, well, timing. How long do you think TCEQ is going to take to review? And, I mean, I know we've got the first month of, where they give us notice of a deficiency or anything like that for.
Right. It's usually about a 12-month process, but
12
we're 3 months into that process. So
Okay.
I expect it by the end of the year, before the
Okay.
end of the year.
I'll make a motion that we allow Jacob Barton to submit the permit application for the wastewater treatment plant with the discharge into Reservoir 23.
Second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Any other questions or discussion? Eric seconded it. All in favor? That's great news. Thank you, Derek. Item number 14, to consider an act to authorize the mayor to execute an amendment to the agreement with Waste Management for solid waste services.
Back in, I believe it was 2016, cities of Hudson Oaks, Willow Park, Netta North, and Netta South collectively entered into a 5-year agreement with Waste Management for solid waste. Sterling Narron, the city administrator over in Hudson Oaks, has been leading the charge and has done the negotiation with Waste Management for the renewal of this. It's in your staff memo. The highlights, it's a 5-year extension. The tonnage of the total of the cities is reduced from 35,000 tons to 19,000 tons. The total tonnage rate is going to go up $1.95 per ton. That's not necessarily per customer rate, that's just the total tonnage rate. The disposal will remain fixed for 24 months, and then the cities agree that Waste Management has the right to adjust it to 4.5% every 2 years thereafter. That's almost SOP language now for waste management contracts, especially in a 5-year contract. This is the same agreement that the aforementioned cities either have adopted or will be adopting.
And didn't we adopt it a couple of years ago?
We did in 2016. This is the renewal of it.
Okay. Okay. Good job.
This doesn't cover recyclable material, or does it include that?
It's just disposal. It's not the
Yeah.
pickup or the recycle. That's still under Republic. And are we negotiating with Republic for,
Recycling?
well, for the collection, the non-disposal? Is that part of our,
Yes. But
okay.
Yeah.
I thought I.
Sorry, you had me going back and forth.
Okay, do we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we authorize the mayor to execute the amendment to the agreement with Waste Management for solid waste services.
Do we have a second?
Second. Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Item number 15, to consider and act on items to be considered for future council meetings.
For the second meeting in April, I know the police department's going to come in with a budget amendment due to some of the winter storm cost overruns, mainly overtime. There was also a billing delay issue from the last fiscal year that's paid out this fiscal year that Kerry wanted to have addressed. I think it had to do something with, it wasn't dispatching, it was the county billing issue.
Oh, it was their
IT issue when they got hacked, and so they were delayed billing until after our new budget started.
Yep. So we'll need to increase the budget for that. And then any other, that's what we have from staff. Anything from council?
If not, we go to item number 16. Next council meeting will be the 27th, is that correct? April 27th?
April 27th, yes.
7 PM?
If that's the only issue, if that's the only agenda item, do y'all want to, Carrie, could we move that to the May 11th meeting?
I
You're,
just need for the budget amendment to be considered prior to September 30th.
okay,
I would prefer not to meet for one or two items that
Sure.
aren't urgent, so.
okay. We can go ahead and schedule, Pat, I think we can go ahead and schedule the meeting or announce it on the 27th, and then we can always cancel at any point in time.
All right, their next scheduled meeting, subject to termination, is April 27th at 7 PM.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask that question we're scheduling a public hearing for our second meeting in May. Do we potentially want to change that public hearing to do we want to do it on a second council meeting if that's the only item on the agenda, or do we potentially want to move it to June? Is my question.
I thought it was the May 25th meeting.
Yeah.
Right, I'm saying if that's the only thing we have is the public hearing for stormwater impact fees, do we want to move that public hearing to a regular meeting and not a second meeting?
And move it to the first meeting in June?
We have time to do that, don't we?
Well, if we publish it this week, we can't change it, so.
So we
We've got to have it so we can publish it.
Can we,
I'm fine with meeting, but I'm just saying if it's a public hearing and there's no speaking, it could be one of those, we all show up and 5 minutes later. we all-
I don't think it'll be a long meeting.
Right, and so that being my
I
question, do we
think-
move it to June if we're going to, and
I-
we obviously need to know if we're going to publish it, because once we publish it,
Pat, can we amend, are we going to violate anything? It's a 30-day notice, correct?
No, if we take action tonight and basically adopt a revised resolution setting the public hearing, because I think we set it in the resolution.
In the resolution it
Did we?
says,
So we just
You did
move it to June the 8th,
yes.
and that will be fine. That'll give us more than 30 days. We don't have to publish it right now, but we'll be all right.
Make sure we don't miss it.
yeah, well, I'm asking, I mean, I'm not saying that we have to do that, that's just a question of council's preference of whether we want to use for one item.
The second meeting in May is also the day after Memorial Day.
It's before.
Is it before?
Memorial Day's later.
Memorial Day's
Okay.
late.
30th.
I checked that.
Yes, I did too.
All right, so we're tentatively scheduling a 27th meeting, and then the public hearing, we're going for June the 8th, correct?
That's what we're talking about, yes, sir.
Okay,
Do
so the
we-
next scheduled meeting will be 27th. And
Do you need a motion to amend the resolution?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion that we amend the resolution from item something.
It was item,
3. No.
No.
9.
Nine.
Item
Yeah.
9 to public hearing on June 8th. Is that sufficient?
Yep.
Right, I made a motion to amend.
Second.
all in favor? Thank you. Thanks, Liam. We have a meeting scheduled. I have no mayor comments. Bernie, thank you, and good luck to you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernie. Appreciate all you did for us.
Just want to make mention, we have a grand
Yes.
opening.
Tentatively.
Yeah.
April at 10 a.m. for our park.
That's Thursday.
Yes, sir.
It's Thursday.
10 a.m. and also at 4 p.m.
I'm sorry?
10 a.m. is the ribbon cutting with the chamber, and then we'll have another opening at 4.
we have the kiddos showing up kids are coming up.
Celebration at 4, from 4 to
We
6.
have some festive.
Snow cones and goodie bags.
At 4 o'clock. 10 o'clock is ribbon cutting, 4 o'clock is the goodies.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other council comments? Mr. Grimes?
As Derek alluded to, we expect to get, in fact, I know we're on the agenda for the April 22nd meeting with Water Development Board to get funded for the wastewater treatment plant. We look forward to securing that funding and moving forward with that project. I know that if Michelle was here, she'd say we absolutely would need it. We are also, this past week, started to have a more, what's the word? More awareness of water consumption, trying to get water conservation out there. We put some things on Facebook, and we're going to be doing some more things through the website as well to get water conservation, get it on these people's minds.
Motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Good night, Irene.